Bombs Away Dream Babies seemed to sum up what the last album was, being this was all or nothing, and those who delve into the record business and make music for a living are really dream babies, and people who listen to records are really dream babies, people who are the great unknown faces who dare to dream. It's all of us. Whoever listened, put our ear to a Victrola or a stereo or a car radio and had their lives changed, or saw a movie and said and lost themselves in it. It's those people who dare to dream. It's about. It started off as a song called New Orleans, and it was the payoff line. Hollywood. She believes she could find the sky. It was about a girl dreaming about going to New Orleans. I don't know why it just came out that way. And the more I played the song, I realized why would anyone want to go to New Orleans, especially a young girl looking for the sky. And since the album turned out to be Dream Babies Go Hollywood, it was obvious that Hollywood was where she wanted to follow the band. That's where the band goes. And she's one of those dream babies looking for it. I went to Disneyland with Buffy, and they have a Disneyland parade there every night. That is incredible, with lights and Mickey Mouse and dwarves and misshapen people of every description. But they have music that plays throughout this that is really magical. And I wanted this record to sound really Disney and very happy is a word, but it's more than happy. It's euphoric, and yet not be with a lot of strings and with guitars and worked really hard on this song to get it. It evolved really slowly because it's really 20 years of playing music put into one album. There's a bit of folk in it. There's a lot of folk in it, and rock and Cajun and people who have influenced me that I've been fans of. There's a bit of their music in it, and just all sort of in a great mulligan stew. And on this album, I didn't have to, but I did because it was something I've always wanted to do, and I played all the guitars on the record. I didn't have Lindsay this time. On The Raven, it was one of the songs that I wrote, really hearing the whole record as I wrote it. And there's no drums on the record. Steve Ross, who was my guitar player for a while, happened to be in that night. We rented some conga. And he played the kick drum on the conga, and I played the other conga. And then I stacked acoustic guitars left and right on it, playing the rhythm, and then put other electric guitars without amps over the top of it, and then played a guitar case with drumsticks for the rest of it, and doubled the vocal, and Wendy Waldman and Linda Ronstadt came in and really did a really good vocal on it, really tuned right into what I wanted. And that, I think, I've never heard a record like that one. I hadn't seen Linda in about 7 years, and when Russ was doing the album, he was also doing Linda Ronstadt's album. And he said, you got to come down. Linda'd like to see you and hear what she's doing. And when I went down to the studio, Linda said, gee, I really was excited about your hit, Gold. I didn't know it was you when it came on the radio. And I called Wendy Waldman and said, there's this great record on the radio. We've got to write a song like it. I said, well, it's just the old minor shuffle. Would you like one? She said, yeah, would you write one for me? And at the time, she was doing a lot of new wave kind of songs that she heard from a guy named Goldenberg. I can't think of his first name. Good songwriter. He's with a group called the Cretones. And she had gone to the Roxy and seen them there, and had really been knocked out, and it given her new inspiration for her own music, and it gave her new energy that she was really wanting to have. So I wrote a song about a girl who goes down, in this case, to the Troubadour, and sees this band called the Nightmen. And she heard the song and said, John, I love it. I think it's a hit, but I don't want to do it. So she said, but you should do it. It's great, because she loved the demo I made for her is the song on the album. I just beefed it up a bit. It kicked around for about a year, and it finally just evolved into a song about having your first car, which is in America, and I imagine around the world a really important thing, getting that first bit of freedom. And it was a song that was omitted from Bombs Away because I didn't quite have it together at that point of what I really wanted to do with it, and held on to it. And I think it turned out one of the better things on the album. And who's singing? Let's see, Wendy Waldman and Nicolette Larson, the same background. Joey Carbone on keyboard, who played keyboard on all of Bombs Away. Russ Kunkel on drums, and Chris Whalen, my main man, on bass. It's the most rock song I've done, and we worked hard on it with the tom overdubs and getting the bass part just right and making sure the vocal had all the youth I could muster at that time. I wrote it in the garage the way I like to write, with headphones on and a microphone and the guitar through this little mixing board I have, so I'm just surrounded by sound. And I just started playing this riff that I've been written at least 5 songs over the last 10 years on, and probably more before that with the trio. Just an A minor, G, F, very moody kind of riff, and started playing it. And the words started coming. And this is another one that Linda and Wendy Waldman and a girl named Sydney Fox sang on. We worked with the Prophet 5, which is an incredible synthesizer. A friend of mine, Phil Browning, who was a TV producer, is a good friend of Phil's. And I had the song that was really written in the style of the Everly Brothers. I mean, still am one of their biggest fans, and one of the first songs I ever learned to play was Dream. And I wanted to write a song with that feel to it. Hi, Phil, John Stewart. He said, yeah, love your records. I said, love yours. Can you come down? He said, yeah, I got a cold, but I'll be down next week. And he showed up, and the nicest guy. I mean, absolutely not an inch a star. Was a pro all the way. Said, if there's anything you don't like, if it's a little flat, the phrasing, let me know, and I'll do it again. He would come in and listen. He was harder on himself than I was. And within 40 minutes, he had it knocked out and was on his way out. And what amazed me, we were playing the song for the first time, and he started singing along with it. I said, Phil, you've never heard this song. He said, I know, I don't know how I do that. And it was just, he knew the song when he heard it the first time. And to hear that voice coming over the speakers was worth the 4 months in there. If nothing else, that one day with Phil Everly in there, hearing that golden voice coming out. Monterey is like, if it's a trilogy to Odin without the third song. It's the prelude to Odin. It sets up the story of the girl whose guy is going out to sea to hunt the whale, and who has a very bad feeling about him going. She just gets the message he should not be going on this trip. And it's a song I just wrote in about 15 minutes one night in a hotel in Denver. It's one of the songs that just came and like that. After Bombs Away, after I finally saw that there was a way to make records people would listen to, songwriting got a lot easier, came really freely. Yeah, Lady of Fame was a song written during the album. I needed a song like that. It had to be urgent and mysterious and a bit frantic, a bit, I don't have control of this. At that point, you know, something has me. I needed a song that said, I'm on the edge. Something is on the edge here. Something either will get me or I'll get it. Just so when you listen to the album, you don't go, oh, well, here we go. You know, this is real comfortable, isn't it? What I try to do with my records is to have that violence, that underlying drone, that one note, that ominous feel under a ballad that seems to be just about, isn't that nice? But underneath it is a feeling of unsettling. And it was an idea that had been fermenting in my head for quite a while. Another 10-minute song. But actually, I only had the first verse up to the day I recorded the master vocal, and I had to write the second verse right before I went in to sing it, because I just didn't have it. And I kept saying, it'll come, and it didn't come. And then the day of reckoning came that I had to finish the song, so I work well under pressure. And we really had fun with this one. Kunkel came in, and he played a thermos on this one, and he played his shoe, and I had 8 people in the studio walking on a linoleum floor. We mic'd the floor. and they were walking behind it. Just did a whole track of that, and we doubled it. And Kunkel was really getting into the madness of playing shoes and thermos bottles and things. So all that was left was to put on the background, and I'm trying to... Chris did the background on this. Really good, solid background part. And I didn't know really what guitars to put on. Here I'm giving all my secrets away. So I had this old Country Gentleman electric guitar that I had. And this is a situation in where we mic'd the guitar real closely, about 4 mics wide open. And I played it acoustically with no amp at all, and then double that guitar. And it was a thing that I thought I could do it better, so I wanted to do it again, and it sounded awful. For some reason, that one day, it happened. And you just start sifting around. And it's a very imperfect album. I hate perfect albums. I want to see the people doing what they do on that record. One of my favorite records of all time is Night Moves. The guitar is out of tune. The time is off. It's real. It's real. And the movies that I love are real movies, you know. The early 50s records are real records. I want to keep it real. So you might hear the record and go 4.5 months, and there's these mistakes. Mistakes were there on purpose. It's a song about, you know, the lyrics go on about fame again, and how intangible everything is, you know, and
You
like a
didn't even
Moonlight
notice.
Rider and a Midnight Train, it's gone, you know, that urgency of you've got to hang on to this somehow, even though you know you can't. And then all of a sudden, the song is gone. There's 3 G-tuned acoustic guitars playing open tuning, and a banjo, and 2 electric guitars and 2 snare drums, and we speeded the track up, and it's real fast, yeah, even faster than we did it. In fact, it's faster than it is on the record, and when we got into master, I got a little chicken and backed it off a bit because it was real fast. And that's the oldest song on the album. That was the one that started out the whole album. In fact, that was supposed to open the album. And as it went on, it became more obvious it should close the album. Maybe if you remember Final Exams, multiply that by 1,000. It's really hard for me to relate it to
Any other
any other
experience.
thing I've ever done. The more time that goes by, the more your objectivity diminishes, the more fatigue sets in, and you can't really trust your own instincts anymore. One day it sounds terrific, and the next day it's the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. I think it's just feeling that there's something left in life worth putting yourself to the brink for, to putting yourself to the line of exhaustion, that, you know, that I didn't cheat anyone, least of all myself. I went all the way with it. When you go in to master the record, the final day when they're going to put it on a disc to be pressed, you can do little changes there. You can make the record sound more the way you want to, and it's that feeling of you come to, this is it. I cannot do any more correcting. That's got to be the way it's going to be forever on that record. This song, this is it for this song. And we were mixing Lady of Fame up to the last night, and we were just exhausted, and the bass and drum part went out right. You know, I've done too many albums where I said, oh, well, to hell with it, no one will notice. And that's the one shot that song ever had, ever, to be what it's going to be, and I can't let it go. I like doing it that way, though. I don't like people taking my albums for granted, producers and people like that who just, it's another gig for them. You know, I think when you put that much care into something, that people are going to recognize the care. And if they don't, at least you assumed they would. Something in this day and age has got to be done with care. So I really do a record the way I want to hear it. I make a record if I wanted to go into a record store and buy a record, this is the one I'd want to make. This is the record I want to go in and buy. You know, if a record or a movie doesn't leave me feeling differently after I hear it than before I heard it, I feel it didn't do its job. Thank you.